stuff. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom Mackel, Chief of Police. I've been here for September makes 26 years. Seen West Georgia change a lot. Expected a lot more changes before I leave, which will be another couple of years. And what I want to do is talk to you about, for those of you who don't understand who the university police are. I mean, theoretically, if you think about it, why do we have a police department on a college campus? Because as we all know, everybody comes here, everybody likes each other, we all get along. Everybody is mentally stable. Nobody does drugs, alcohol, steals, fights, has bad relationships. So really, why are we here? We think deep thoughts, right? That's what we do. Well, in reality, our job's a little bit different. Now, what I want to do is explain to you who we are, what we do, and then get into some of the finer points of the Clery Act, which actually affects a lot of you, which happens to be the bane of my existence. So, anyway, let's go ahead and get started. We are the University Police. University Police go back a long time. Now, normally we're talking about a long time. To me, a long time might not be the same for you, since I've been here longer than some of you have been alive. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that University Police mainly came about in the 50s, 60s, definitely into the 70s. But prior to that, I was looking for where is the first University Police Department come from? A friend of mine told me he was with a meeting, with a guy at a meeting for Nebraska in, it was IACLEA, which is our national association. And he said, well, he did research and found that he thinks his department was the oldest in the country. Back in the 1870s, he was able to find research that showed the students were pitching their horses to posts that were reserved for faculty. And therefore, they created his department, the early part of it, in order to handle that travesty and to make sure that did not happen. Now, I know we've taken care of that problem here. We don't have it. But I thought it was kind of bizarre that, that would actually come about. Anyway, we're going to talk about these two fellows here. They're from Yale. They actually are the oldest one I could actually find on the internet. What I want to do is talk to you first about who the police are. We have different people that we hire as far as being police officers. We have different images and views of ourselves than what maybe the population, maybe you even have yourself. To get into law enforcement, you've got to have a lot of attributes. That's who we see ourselves as. Yeah, some of you are sitting there laughing. Yeah, right. That is actually the symbol of law enforcement. St. Michael the Archangel. You notice in his left hand is the scales of justice, right hand has the sword, he has his foot on the throat of the devil, representing evil. That's who we think we are. Now, on the other hand, some of you may see us a little bit different, okay? You want to have some fun, come with me to Dunkin' Donuts in the morning. It's like, oh, look who's back, the chief, and then, of course, we know Barney Fife there on the side. Now, where is it that we actually are? We're somewhere, hopefully more towards St. Michael than we are in Barney Fife. And, of course, the donut thing. Where did John go, Freeman? There he is in the back. John was nice enough to give me a coffee cup and a bumper sticker from a place called Donuts Were Involved, which is a donut shop run by Tom in Michigan. I remember, so I proudly have that in my office. Anyway, when we talk about Yale being the first campus police department, what has always happened is there's always been an issue between town-gown relationships. The students come here, they're not necessarily from the area, or most likely for a lot of colleges traditionally, they've not been from the local community. They come in, they've got a different attitude than local people do. A lot of times that causes conflict. In Yale's case, that was definitely what was going on. People did not like the students, and the people from New Haven didn't like the students. Students didn't like them back. Well, one day they had a problem in the later part of the 1800s, and that was that the rumor was running around that the Yale students were out digging up the recently dead to take them back to medical school and dissect them because that's part of their requirement, correct? Yes. Actually, we had this at, I don't know, for anybody who may remember, we discovered the same thing at Medical College of Georgia, now Georgia Regents. They went in, they were trying to renovate a building, and lo and behold, they started digging down in this one room to put in a new heating and air conditioning system, and they started finding bones and other things. It turns out that was where the Medical College of Georgia was hiding the remains of the cadavers that they had stolen. Up to the point, including, they went back and checked. We actually had somebody on payroll as a grave robber at the Medical College of Georgia. So, this was not uncommon. Anyway, they had a fight. They had a big fight. They had a riot, actually. And what happened was, it became a very trying time for Yale and the city of New Haven. So what they did was, they put 2 police officers on campus, the New Haven Police Department. And what they did was, they came in and they kind of took over. But do you think they were really well accepted? No. I like this in here. From our very first appearance on the campus, we felt that we were obnoxious to the college boys. I love the writings of the 1800s, for the way they say it. They, one and all, from freshmen to seniors, never lost an opportunity to make us realize we were not wanted. We were in a way of history. They did not know by what authority we had been placed there. They did not know but strongly suspected the object was to watch them or spy on their actions. They hardly resented this. Had they not always been exempt from interference of any kind while on their own ground, why then should these 2 cops be permitted to enter the charge with secret enclosure? Bill Wise and Jim Donovan. Well, our students oftentimes feel the same way. Yes, they feel that this is their campus. When I worked for Emory one time, the cabin pulled over somebody, and one of our more brilliant students, and he pulled into the campus by about 20 feet because he was smart enough to know that the sidewalk belonged to DeKalb County. It was public property. He gets out, leans against his car, crosses his arms, and said, "You can't do anything to me. I'm on Emory property," which happens to be in DeKalb County. Okay. I got here. I explained to him, we are Emory University. We are property in DeKalb County. We are not Mexico. And I hope he enjoys the night in the DeKalb County jail, which is where he kind of went. Anyway. So, when we look at the college campuses, a lot of times there is that feeling that, hey, we're here and they're out there. We've worked real hard to kind of fit that bill of liaison between the city and the campus and the students. And that's one of the rules I think that's important for us. Now, things began to change rapidly. Most schools did not have, or colleges and universities did not have police or security of really any kind. If you look at a lot of the old traditional schools, what do they have? You go out to Oakthorpe University in DeKalb County. What do they have? A big gate and an old guy who sits at the front. Well, he's not that old now. He was a lot older many years ago when I saw him. Now he looks pretty good at 6 feet. Anyway, so, yeah, a lot of people are sitting here, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Anyway, that was the idea. Okay, you just had a gate, and you had somebody there, they had to drive through the gate. It never occurred to anybody that what can you do to a gate? You can climb over it. You can climb through it because it was really pretty. But unless you were like, large, you could actually get through the run. So there really wasn't that much security, but there wasn't that much problem, so they didn't care. Anyway, the 60s and going into the 70s, we saw a lot of the rioting and a lot of the other stuff that was going on in college campuses. Students rioted, they took over buildings. That had never happened before on college campuses. Who was the most feared person on a college campus? Was it the police? Was it the president? Who was it? The dean. The dean of students. You did not want to get called to the dean's office. Kind of a combination of, Valdez and Palmer, Taylor, to, the devil himself. Because you were terrified of what the dean could do. Because the dean held your existence in his or her hand, depending. Anyway, a lot of that went away in the 60s. People didn't really care. So, anyway, what happened? They took over. Well, what were the options? You brought in the local police, or you brought in the National Guard. That was not a good combination. The result was Kent State. Did anybody ever see this picture? How many of you remember, or as a lot of people tell me now, I read about that in history. Remember Kent State? Look at that line. That is a line of Ohio State National Guard walking through Kent State campus with what? Rifles. Okay? They got rifles with bayonets on them against college students. Not a good idea. By the way, you know the average age of the National Guard that was out there was about 19 years old. Pretty much the same age as the students, maybe a little younger. They actually were carrying live rounds in their M14 rifles. Okay? Is that a good combination? No. Could something happen? Yes. And what did happen? 4 students were killed, a number were shot and severely injured. So that got people thinking, should we be doing it this way? Anyway, things are changing, okay? Historically, you can tell you're getting the college professor pardon me at this point. Okay, what's going on? Normally, if you look at the way we handled riots previously, most of them were against the minorities in this country. Either racial minorities, immigrants, there were riots over economic issues, and there were anti-war riots. Civil War, World War I, World War II, there were actually riots against those wars. You know, they were not near as pronounced as Vietnam, but they did exist. Okay, now, what was the difference then? Why did America get very upset about Kent State and the way the police were handling the riots all over? Because we finally got the whole middle-class America, which included these two, Wally and the Beaver. Remember them? Okay. Wally and the Beaver represented what? Middle-class America. Jew and, what was his name, Ford? They were the people who did what? They voted, they paid their taxes, they voted, they elected, they defeated people. Now, on the other hand, what happened to Wally and the Beaver when they got older? No, they didn't become campus radicals, though they could have. But that does represent who middle-class America actually was. The kids who were rioting in the colleges and universities were middle-class America. They demanded, their parents demanded something be done. So we created campus law enforcement, or they did. Anyway, campus law enforcement takes two different types. Private security, you'll find companies like Allied Barton, GS4, the number of these. They'll come in and they'll actually set up college or security department on your campus if you want. Some departments, like the one I originally worked with Emory, for like the first 2 years, we were actually private security because the law did not exist for us to become police until 1977. Once we did, we became a police department, and we worked our way through and figured out what we were doing. The other one is certified police. That would be us. Let me show you the difference between private security and police. And the minimum training for a security guard in the state of Georgia requires 24 hours training. Whoa, we actually went through that training back many years ago. It's absolutely nothing. These are the people who actually you see in different areas around the community who are now considered private security. If they carry a revolver, they have to have 15 hours of training. If they carry a semi-automatic, there's another 16 hours. There is no requirement for recertification, all those other things to keep it up. This is kind of scary. When you see somebody who is armed security, I'm not bashing all of them the way I am. Because what you have to look at is, that person is carrying a firearm, he does, or she does, think that she has a certain amount of authority, and that could be a bad combination. They can also arrest, but they have no more arrest powers than what you yourselves have. Are you all aware that you can make arrests? Yeah, you can. Any of you who ever watched Gilbert Mile or what was it, Andy Griffith? You know, Jim Neighbors' character, citizens arrest. Actually, there's not a whole lot of difference between your powers and my powers, except for the fact that I can arrest by warrant and I can conduct a search warrant. You all can't do that, okay? Remind your RAs, they can't do that, okay? No, they can't, okay? Now, you've got certain ways you can do it, just don't bring us in on it, okay? Because that becomes illegal, okay? Now, so, we are Puerto Region's police. What that means is, back in the 1960s, around 68, they created a law that gave us authority to be police officers with the same powers and authority as the local community. There is no difference between the University of West Georgia Police Department, the City of Carrollton, Carroll County, Bowden, Temple, and Leonard County. We have the same authorities, the same rights, powers, jurisdiction, all like that, jurisdiction. As Puerto Region's police, though, they did something that was really kind of clever. Considering how many campuses do we have as of like right now? As Puerto Regions is still down there, we may have less campuses by the time we finish as we merge. But we're down to 30? We got 30? Okay, we have 28. 30. We got 30 campuses as of now. Okay, our powers of authority actually extend to every one of those campuses. Anything that is owned by the Board of Regents. So, the property that UGA owns down on the coast, they do research on, whatever that's called. We have the same powers and authority. We can move our officers to Brunswick, we can move them to Dalton, we can move anywhere we have to. And they have the same powers and authority. Now, what is that power and authority? Our jurisdiction goes 500 yards off campus, all right? So we can do that. Second, we have mutual aid with the city of Carrollton and Carroll County. We can actually go anywhere within the city and the county if they ask us to. And we do spend a lot of time off campus. Last fall was a very busy time for the city and for us. You know, all the apartment complexes and all the partying and that. We spent a lot of time back in the city and the county in those apartment complexes. Totally legal. So when you see one of us, you know, one of our patrol cars off campus, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're out there freelancing, which if they are freelancing, let me know. You know, we do try to keep them, you know, here, but there is that possibility that they have to go off campus, and we do that a lot. Okay. Now, powers. We are police officers, which means we can execute search warrants, we can execute arrest warrants. We actually arrest a lot of our students because they have a tendency not to show up to court. They have a tendency to do a number of other things, okay, that other jurisdictions object to. So we'll get calls to come out and, you know, lock somebody up or, you know, grab one of our students, something like that. Going through campus at night, you will be surprised the number of people who have warrants, and they get arrested by our officers when they get pulled over. We also get a lot of drugs coming through campus. A lot of them are not going to stop here. They just happen to think it's quicker to get through the middle of campus. They're wrong. We had a guy last week, 2 weeks ago, that he had like 4.7 ounces of marijuana he just bought to go sell, and he never got quite able to make a sale. One of the best ones we got, some of the people we arrest are not the brightest. They pulled over a guy last year, got him out of the car, checked him, asked him because they were going to arrest him for some reason. And they asked him, they said, do you have any, you know, drugs, guns, knives, weapons, hand grenades on you? And he goes, oh, no, these are not, no, I'm good. Anyway, they searched him, pulled out of his pocket several rocks of meth, crack or meth, whatever it was. And all of a sudden the guy looked down and go, hey, wait a minute, these aren't my pants. So now, periodically, we walk through our department and somebody said, hey, wait a minute, those aren't my pants. We had a student we arrested about 2 weeks ago. He actually had a stolen gun that he dumped in a garbage can outside the center point. When they restrained him and pulled it out, they found the gun had been stolen out of Lake City. And he said, oh, that's not my gun. You're right. Very good. And you'll hear that it's not several times, okay? So a lot of times we do end up with a lot of these people that are a little bit different. By the way, the guy who said, these aren't my pants, when they finally got everything taken care of and they got to the jail, they finally looked at me and said, they're not my pants. He goes, look, I forgot about it. I was surprised. That was the best I could do. I'm sorry. I'll try better next time. Well, we'll expect that because we probably will be arrested next time. Okay. Certification for our officers to become police officers, they have to go through 408 hours of training that is required of all police officers in the state of Georgia. Ours do go through that periodically. Our officers will probably say pull out some of the awards like top academic awards, firearms, a couple things like that. It was really kind of neat for a chief from a year ago summer. Our officers that we had sent through, we had hired a group of about 5 new officers. Anyway, they took all the awards except one. So that was kind of like a nice shot for West Georgia. Anyway, what this says is that we can do what it is that we say we do. 408 hours, is that enough time? No. This past year we gave our officers over 4,500 additional hours of training. A number of our officers, over half our department has their BS degrees, a number of them have their master's degrees or working on it. We have one working on his PhD. So we really value the education and try to keep that as a status. The last couple of officers we hired, actually two of them, the last two were actually West Georgia graduates. So we're proud of that. mutual aid, basically what it says is we've got a signed agreement between the city, the county, and the university. We can go anywhere to help them, and they can come on campus here to help us. That's been very valuable over the last several years as we back the city and when they come on campus. By the way, we don't have to give permission to the city and the county because we are not Mexico either, okay? So the city and the county can freely come in here and do whatever they want, but we don't play in their jurisdiction and they don't come here to ours. So, not like they've got enough time to go out with all they've got going on either. Now, police in the real world. Let's talk about what makes a department. Okay, the capabilities of the department are basically limited only by the view of the chief, the vice president, and the president. The president, the vice president we have now, and I like to think the chief, actually wants us to be the best we can be. Dr. Guerrero, has really come in. He said, I want whatever it takes for you to be able to do everything you can do to serve the students. And that's a really nice set of marching orders to have. Basically the same ones you all have got. Make us the best that we can be. And we're really making some changes. We're doing some things. We've got kind of steel in some areas, so I'm moving a lot of folks around. We're going to be doing some other things. Changing student experiences and parents. One of the things that's nice about being in law enforcement as long as I have is I can actually do comparisons from when I started to where I am today as far as the students go. We didn't deal with mental health issues when I started. That was just kind of like, suck it in, You've had a bad time in your life. Haven't we all? That was kind of the attitude. Now I look at all of our friends, including the high in the back, how large is our counseling services? It's gotten big because we have to be big. We've got lots more people having more and more problems. We spend a lot of time with our officers training them on how to deal with mental health issues. We're starting to peg reports. When I see the reports in the morning and they've got drinking issues, you've got somebody who showed up, this is their third, fourth, fifth, consumption underage. This is the second, third, fourth marijuana arrest that they've got. They're acting very strange, in a lot of different ways. Those reports go to health services. Those reports go to counseling directly. So when they come in the morning, they can actually jump on those individuals and try to get them the help that they need. It's important that the police department works with these groups in order to deal with their issues. We've got a lot of students we can save if we actually will recognize what their problems are. We also have some students that maybe we don't need to save. Those go to Melissa and Alicia. Okay? And they have their mailbox filled. Where's Melissa? Is she hiding back there in the back? Yes. Afraid of our department? By the way, we gave that award to Melissa and Alicia because, not that everybody's not our friend, it's a working relationship that we've developed with discipline, okay? We're not out looking to get rid of everybody who's a student out here, okay? I know you all have some that you would like to see that happen too. But it's important that discipline and police work together, okay? And that's the relationship that we've developed over the last, year or more with student discipline. So I appreciate Melissa and Alicia for helping us out in that area. Okay, one of the hard parts too about becoming or being a campus cop, do you want to hire officer friendly or do you want to hire the Terminator? Okay, this is a balancing act that we have to get because policing is different in lots of different areas. You go to a community, their police department should represent the people who are there, which is kind of hard because you're all not alike, right? But you want an officer who can actually go out there and technically be officer friendly and then in a heartbeat become the Terminator, okay? And sometimes people can pull that off, some can't. Our folks are always selected by their ability to talk to people first, then their ability to deal with whatever situation comes up. Lots of people come up to you and say, I thought you were here to help us. Huh, yes, we are. We thought you wouldn't bring a stolen gun to campus, okay? We didn't think you'd have a pocket full of meth. We didn't think, maybe we're wrong, but that's how we look at it. So what we want to do is have that officer who can go through both. One of the things, too, about this that you all need to know, we are state property. We are not public property. People think that they can come in here and do anything they want because it's public property. No, it's not. Under the law, we have the right to say who can come here, if you can. Now, we invite lots of people here, right? All the students who do art, athletics, all those different things, we invite people to come here. Look at the stadium on a Saturday. Those aren't all of our people. We've got a lot of local community coming here. We want them to do that. But at the same time, we have the ability to say, no, you can't come here, and if you come back, we are going to arrest you. And we do that because we need to be able to do that to protect the students and you all from everyone kicked down from South Cape. No. We are here to protect, and a lot of times we have to do that by telling somebody they can't come back. Now, one of the things we got, and we're getting a lot better, but one of the things that was always kind of funny about being in campus law enforcement, we always told people, do not think that you're going to get that same level of respect, et cetera, that you might get as a city or county officer. For a long time, we were in that impression. What we got was we had to be 10 times better to be seen half as good as a city or county police officer. Now, we have changed a lot of that over time. We are now doing things to where the city and the county are emulating us. We do a lot of neat stuff here. One of the neat things about the university or being in a university setting is the fact that we can experiment and fail. You know, when they're doing stuff in chemistry and biology and things like that, do they always succeed in what they're trying to do? No. That's called experimentation. That's what I love about being here. We've tried a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff worked real well. A lot of it didn't work at all. But I've never got my knees cut off underneath from saying, hey, you wasted money doing that. That's why we've tried a lot of things. Do y'all know we carry tasers? You know how long we've been carrying tasers? 2000. You know, other departments have given them away, give them to them, take them away, all like that. We actually worked ours out. We showed how to use it. And we've avoided a lot of the pitfalls that a lot of other departments have done. We had the first bike patrol in the city. The city still has theirs. The problem is you can't get anybody who wants to ride a bike in a bulletproof vest for 12 hours. Go figure, you know, these young people, you know. By the way, for those of you who don't know, bulletproof vests don't breathe, okay? Which means that in the dead of winter, you're great. Because you can walk around like, you know, Schwarzenegger, you know, because it keeps all the body heat in. During the summer, they'll kill you because they're so hot. So getting the idea of getting onto a bicycle really doesn't suit a lot of people. That's why we have ATVs. We got the UTVs, and we have patrol cars and things like that. So with that in mind, sometimes we run into this situation. Following Virginia Tech, a guy named John Shroud, who, by the way, I won't say anything bad about it, but Google his name, said Virginia Tech's campus police was, however, John Shroud said he had doubts about the effectiveness of Virginia Tech campus police from the start because, of course, the anti-Griffith Party Pop operation. They're a really small police force with 20,000 students. They're not the best and brightest. Okay? The interesting part about them, by the way, I just put that as a disclaimer, 45 is never nor has ever worked in campus law enforcement. Virginia Tech Police Department is actually CLIA certified. We are actually working on CLIA certification now. We just received our state certification through the Georgia Chiefs last year. That is our state accreditation. We're now working on national accreditation, and we will be one of less than 1,000 out of the 18,000 police departments in this country. We will be one of less than 1,000 who actually have this. Virginia Tech said theirs since 1993. They had just been recertified by CLIA. So that's kind of this mentality that if you don't see the cops out there looking like the cops in your neighborhood, sometimes it doesn't work out. You know, you don't get that level of respect. Now, a couple things we're going to talk about, though, just before we go. There is a change in our students, and that is a difference. Like, let me give you an illustration, like with the tasers. Okay, you've heard about all the bad things about tasers and all this other stuff. When we were announcing that we're going to start carrying tasers, I had a student call me up. She says, I want to talk to you about this taser, this electric, they call it electric gun. Okay? Now, when I started, we carried 38 revolvers. And with 6 shots and 6 in a drop pouch, you know, our officers now carry 16 in the Glock and 2 15-round clips. That's in addition to the AR-15s and the shotguns they also carry in the patrol cars. We actually, Emory supposedly had demonstrations before our department was formed. I have actually one of the first 17 police officers that Emory University hired. I walked in one day and all of a sudden we had a department. Didn't have a clue what we were doing. It was so much fun. If you ever get an opportunity to work for an organization that doesn't know what they're doing, because we walked in one day and started the department. The way we determine policy, if we got yelled at by the chief when we came in the next day, that's bad policy, don't do that. If we didn't say anything, it was good policy. Well, we got that here too. No, I digress. No, it was a great opportunity. But they were actually demonstrating against us actually carrying firearms on campus, okay? I talked to a student, jump ahead from 1975 to 2000. She said, I want to talk to you about your officers getting these electric guns. And I gave her the whole spiel of, these are less lethal. She goes, I don't care about that. They need real guns to shoot people that try to hurt us. And my first thought was, are you dating anybody? Don't find a woman like that all the time. Of my 40 years, 35 of those have been happily married to my wife, Arlene. Anyway, I said, they're going to keep their blocks. They're still going to be carrying their guns as firearms. This is just another show. Oh, never mind. Bye. I hung up. So in a 25-year time period, we had gone from, we don't want them carrying guns at all, to where, as long as they can keep their real guns, I don't care what else you give them. About 7 years ago, the vice presidents approved us going to AR-15s and shotguns. Why? Virginia Tech. A lot of these other incidents, we need something that we can actually reach out and touch somebody, okay? We train on them. We have everything that we need to do it right. But, do you know what? Every day they walk out with an AR-15, a couple clips, or a shotgun with extra rounds, and nobody has ever said a word to us. What does that say about our students? What kind of world are they growing up in? They're growing up in a world to where violence is something that's normal. And that's really kind of sad. What we're trying to do is present to our students that not all cops are bad, okay? And the fact that if we train our people right, are we always going to be perfect? No. We're going to have problems. Somebody's going to mess up. We know that. That's just, the odds are against us. But nonetheless, you have to appreciate where our students are coming from. How many have read that article from Marjorie Snipe's email from last week about the students? And she came back. One of the students want to stay. For those you don't know, she went up to Pleasant Hill, which is a Shaker village. A really neat place to get a chance to go up there. It's in Kentucky. Anyway, they went up there. It's a very quiet, peaceful place. This was actually a real Shaker village back in the 1800s. Okay. She then went to a monastery, the monastery of Gethsemane, which is up in kind of that same general area. For all of you know, we got a monastery here in Conyers, Georgia. This monastery actually was an outgrowth of that one. One of the students said, can we stay another day? I don't want to go back to the gunfire, or whatever. That's kind of what it was, right? Yeah, that was the neighborhoods that our kids are coming from. So they are used to this level of violence. We need to try to change that. So that's what we're trying to do as officers. But it really always kind of bothers me. I guess maybe there's a little bit of the 60s left in me. The idea that walking on college campuses and somebody's carrying an AR-15 and nobody says a word, that's kind of sad. But nonetheless, we got them. They're here. They're trained. And that is what we do. Now, a couple other things. One of the things I think is kind of interesting, though, is when we hire our officers, we recruit, we try to get the best, but that doesn't mean we're going to take somebody just because they happen to be very aggressive, they're from another department, anything like that. We screen our people very carefully. Can they actually talk to our students? And think about how diverse our student population is and our employee base, okay? We want people who can actually talk to everybody. Second part is, we're now finding that we're having competition because the city and the counties are looking for the same type of people. No longer do we want the guy who's going to come in there and, basically the old thing of kick ass and take names. That's not what policing is about today. So the city and the county are starting to try to grab our folks as well, so we're in a lot more competition. We're doing very well. If you look at our officers, we've got a really big array of officers. Some of them big, the kind. One of the guys we just hired was actually one of our offensive linemen. We have another one who she graduated and she's about this tall, and he is like 6'5" or something else. Anyway, so you see the two of them together, they make quite a pair. But the best thing is they know how to talk to people. So that's what we got. That's your university tools. Thank you.
start with is performance evaluation time. You probably all know that, you're excited about it. Why are you laughing? This is when you get bad evaluations. You gotta take this stuff seriously. So it is evaluation time. There is a new form. Dr. Lingle has sent it out to everyone. We wanted to come and talk about what are the differences between goals and professional development, because the two get confused a lot. And it's a hard process as it is, because you either are in a position where I don't want to just sit around and brag about myself, or I'm not comfortable being self-reflective. There's a lot of reasons why performance evaluations are nerve-wracking. And so we're just trying to make it a little bit easier for you. So when trying to figure out whether something is a goal for professional development, we're going to start with if it's related to the current position, if it supports the department's goals. Those are goals. That is laying a brick from the employee standpoint. If it's related to your professional aspirations, what you want to be, what you want to do someday. If it helps you be ready to face new challenges and new positions, those are professional development plans. That is the wall you want to build. So your current position is you laying the brick. Your professional development is the wall you want those bricks to become.
Well, more specifically to explain, can y'all see that? Your next professional goal, as Danny said, this is more about your position and how you, the next thing you want to do in the current position that you're in. Moving down these action steps. The action step you're going to take to meet that goal, there's actually 3 of those. And the resources needed, this will be discussed between you and your supervisor, and what resources your supervisor and the institution can provide, and then obviously the deadline. And then the final box on here, the supervisor can help you create your ultimate career goals. Again, the word goals is in there, but this is more of the huge wall he's talking about, the career aspirations, and where you want to ultimately be one day. It can be 5 years, 10 years, maybe 20 years, whatever you want to be when you're done. And one thing that we do want to stress is it's okay to tell your supervisor that you want to leave, that you want to progress out of that department. One thing Dr. Lingle stressed to us is we need to start to squash the culture of the life. We all know that some people want to be here in their current position and then retire in their current position, but we need people who want to move up, move fast, bigger and better. If you are having problems or you don't want to tell your supervisor that you want to move out of the department or you want to be them one day or someone above them, then you can reach out to Mackel, and Mackel can help you with that. That was the bus. And that's really about all we have. They just asked us to speak very briefly.
We do have more slides. So just to repeat, going back to look at this, when you're talking about your next professional goal, it's what's the next step for you in the building of that wall. So right now, your job is building widgets. Maybe someday you want to be the manager, the foreman over the floor that builds widgets. And so you talk about, well, I probably won't get there this year. These action steps are something I can do this year that will help me prepare for that, whether that's getting experience with supervision, some kind of particular professional development, learning how to manage budgets, whatever that is. We wanted to give a concrete example, or a great example. We wanted to give an example. So, and for the purpose of this slide, which I do want to give a plan for making the slide better, he changed out the word goal, because that's what gets confusing. Like, hey, I have goals related to my department. My job is making widgets. Now I'm supposed to make 110% of the widgets I made last year. That's my new goal. He changed it to the word aspiration. What do I dream of one day? What do I want to be? Okay, you can't be a ninja. How about I want to be dean of students? That's a very realistic goal that someone might have, an aspiration of professional development. So what might the plan look like for someone who wants to be dean of students? So we're going to show you one of the action steps someone can take in a year to accomplish that. So Maybe that person wants to perform an informational interview with the current dean of students, find out what are the real job responsibilities, what training am I going to need, what are the qualifications of the position, and how does my personal current position interact with your position now, so I can see how things are connected, find those connections. So that would be an example of an action step, performing that informational interview. The resource needed is maybe 1 to 2 hours during a business day when your calendar aligns with the current dean of students, and some help from your supervisor to be able to go and do that. So that's an important part of developing who you are. You can put a deadline on that. We gave an example. I'm going to do that by June 1st, 2015. And then, what can your supervisor do to help with this? The main thing is, hey, if we ever get a chance to let me, say, work with the student life departments, I'm currently in the enrollment management side. I need more experience with the student life folks to see how all of those pieces fit together. And, a similar thing, maybe if I get a chance to learn about how higher ed finance works, how budgeting works on this campus, that's going to help me move up in those kind of positions. We just wanted to give you these kind of real tangible examples of something that might happen to you. So, your goals for your job, that's about doing the job you have now. Your professional development plan is about doing the job you want to have someday when you're ready for that. And again, if you have any questions, I'm sure Maggie would be able to help you, but we will also be glad to field emails. This is something that is very meaningful to Dr. Lingle. As Clint said, he's been extremely clear to the leadership and extended leadership to not punish someone who says, I don't want to be in this entry-level position forever. And likewise, not to punish someone who says, I'm very happy being in this entry-level position forever. And for those people, it's about, well, how do we make you the best at that? If you're at your dream job, then how do we make you the best on earth? And then you work from there. All right? So thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Danny and Clint, for what, I don't know, what you got me into. And thank you, Chief Mackel. Are there any quick announcements? We have maybe 2 minutes. All right, y'all have a great night. Oh!
I hope if you're here tomorrow night at 7 p.m. in this room, that you'll take a moment to drop by the Women's History Program. This is Women's History Month. So some of your directors have a button it up, so you can get a button. But instead of having a speaker, we have a spoken word artist at 7 p.m. tomorrow night here in the Campus Center Hall.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, y'all have a great day.
Good.